This young female presented with a swelling in the right side of tongue on under surface, and comparison reveals left side is normal and the swelling is present on right side. Any transducer with a small footprint can be used like a hockey stick probe, but we do not have a hockey stick probe, therefore we used a TVS probe to look at the lesion. On grayscale ultrasound, a hypoechoic well-defined lobulated lesion is seen within the tongue, and it has multiple phleboliths which are echogenic areas with posterior acoustic shadowing within the lesion. On zooming the image, we can see very small anechoic tubular channels within the lesion, and these lace-like kind of channels, they are anechoic and they were not showing any flow on color Doppler. Because of these anechoic channels, the lesion was compressible while we applied pressure using the transducer. On color Doppler, within the lesion no vascularity is noted, just posterior to that normal tongue vasculature is noted, and when we use the pulse wave Doppler, then slow venous flow was noted within the lace-like anechoic channels of the lesion. The female gave a history that the swelling is present since 4 years and it is slightly growing in size. So there is possibility of either a vascular malformation or a vascular tumor, that is hemangioma. Since there is no arterial channel within the lesion, so the possibility of high flow vascular malformation or AVM, that is arteriovenous malformation, is ruled out. Phleboliths within the lesion are highly characteristic of a slow flow vascular malformation, and as we saw, very thin lace like anechoic channels showing slow venous flow within the lesion. This thing again goes in the favor of a slow flow vascular malformation. So on ultrasound Doppler, we gave the diagnosis of a slow flow venolymphatic vascular malformation with phleboliths. Later on, the patient underwent a contrast enhanced MRI also. Let's see what the images reveals. On T2 weighted sequence, we can see a hyperintense lesion within the tongue on comparison with the skeletal muscles and the tongue musculature. The lesion has been marked by the arrows, and we can appreciate some fluid signal intensity within the lesion, and I am drawing red colored dots to mark the fluid levels. On the axial T2 weighted sequence, we can see the hyperintense lesion is there on right side, and it is causing subtle deviation of the lingual septum marked by a red line on the contralateral side. With the red colored lines, I am showing the tongue muscle which are slightly deviated towards the contralateral side. No perilesional edema is there. With the red pointer, I am going to show a phlebolith within the lesion which is going to show blooming on the susceptibility weighted imaging sequence shown after this sequence. Another arrow shows a septa within the lesion, and there were no flow voids noted within the lesion. This is the non-fat suppressed T1 sequence that is important to rule out any hemorrhage within the lesion, that is any blood product is present or not, and secondly no fat is present within the lesion because it is hypointense. So the involuting phase of hemangioma is also ruled out because that may contain fat. Susceptibility weighted imaging showed multiple blooming foci within the lesion that were suggestive of phleboliths. Dynamic contrast enhanced MRI shows little enhancement in the early arterial phase, and it shows a progressive gradual enhancement on the delayed phase. Therefore, high flow vascular malformation as well as hemangiomas are ruled out, and the diagnosis is slow flow vascular malformation, and it is confirmed. Within the slow flow vascular malformation, since there is little mass effect and rather than just a septal kind of enhancement, there is intralesional enhancement. Therefore, it is less likely a lymphatic and more likely a venous slow flow vascular malformation. This article by Radiographics and this concise table within the article can be very helpful in solving the doubtful cases.